Hello and welcome to the Nerd Card. I'm Chuck.
I'm Esteban.
All right, so that brings us to 28 weeks later.
Yes.
Which is the follow-up to 28 days later. Danny Boyle stayed on as executive producer for this film, as did Alex Garland, who we didn't mention earlier.
The writer, yes.
Also wrote 28 days later, and then was executive producer with Danny Boyle on 28 weeks later. How much of that was just a credit for the previous film and they got paid to make a sequel? I don't know. I like to think that they did at least some producing of the movie.
I like to think so. I think that based on the tone of the film, it took a lot of cues from the first film.
Yeah.
The tone of the film, some of the shots were an homage to Danny Boyle's style.
Yeah. For sure.
The music definitely played a huge role, I think.
Oh, yeah. I mean, they take straight up the music from the recognizable music from 28 days later and put it in key spots and 28 weeks later as a cue for you. The palette of the tone of the film, the color palette is the same pretty much as 28 days, very similar. Although 28 weeks is a little crispier. It may have been shot on digital. I didn't look to see.
It was 5 years, probably.
2007, you're starting to get into digital productions at that time. So it's a little bit cleaner. One thing that was interesting, speaking of the time frame that we noticed when we were watching this movie, is this is just before smartphones became prevalent. I mean, just before. This came out in 07. I think the first iPhone came out in 07 or 08. So there's one scene where the lights go out and people are still holding lighters, right?
And flashlights.
Right. And now it would be your smartphone flashlight. And that's kind of funny to look at because this is just before that time when they became prevalent. I know I got my first iPhone in 2009.
Right.
So, and I didn't have the very first iPhone. So it's right around that time. So it's interesting sometimes when you notice in these kind of movies as you transition to phases in society. And a lot of the actors in this movie are still early in their career. You see Idris Elba is in this movie, is not a huge role, but a decent enough role, but not one of the main characters. At this time, he was known for The Wire, for being Stringer Bell, and that was pretty much what most people knew him for.
Right.
You have Rose Byrne pretty early in her career as the medical command doctor of the outfit. And Jeremy Renner.
Third film. Jeremy Renner's third, and boy, was he young.
Yeah, I mean, it's weird to see him, and of course, he's a sniper, which it seems like he's a sniper kind of guy in so many different films.
Just about everything he does.
Hawkeye, the Bourne Identity movie he was in.
Give the guy a gun and let him go.
Yeah, let him do something. Can he do something besides sit in a perch with a weapon? I mean, it's like he's Hawkeye. Even before he was Hawkeye, he's Hawkeye.
He's Hawkeye, right.
It's kind of funny to see that. And then you have one of my favorite character actors, Robert Carlyle.
Yes, he's amazing. He really is.
Is the catalyst for this film, really.
Yes, the father.
At the end, the father, because he's the one who, in the beginning, leaves his wife to die.
Bye, honey.
So basically lets her die there, and then later when she is found in the film by her kids who don't want to go see the old house, which bad decision. If you're ever in a zombie situation, don't go into the infected zone by yourself without any weapons.
That's like Survival 101, guys.
And it's pretty dumb. I mean, that's just not a smart move. But they wanted to see the old house, and they find Mom. And Mom is infected, but not a rage monster because she's got some kind of immunity. She's a carrier.
Right.
And she comes back into the base, and they bring her back. And they're, Robert Carlyle, he makes this point earlier on. Hey, I run the place, and he shows this demonstration to the kids where he traps them in this vestibule, and then his access card lets him through. Well, the military, this is one hole in the plot for me. The military has her in a medical facility where this dude has access to.
Right.
And he just goes into the room where she's strapped down to a bed.
Kissy face with her.
Yeah, and gets infected because she's a carrier.
Right.
Which now they're behind the walls of the military secured area, and all hell breaks loose. Which, is how all hell breaks loose. But again, to me, that's lazy writing.
A little bit. Yeah. They probably could have done something a little different.
Could have done something better because it's not believable to me that guy's got access to a military hospital.
Right.
Secure military hospital facility where they're doing research on this illness that had destroyed London.
Right.
Yeah,
it was a little weak, but
it was.
But overall, it's a good film. The director, Juan Carlos, let me get this right, Fresnadillo.
Better than I would have said it.
He didn't do a whole lot before this film, and he really hasn't done a lot since this film.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure the relationship between him and the executive producers or producers of the second film, but I think he did overall a pretty decent job.
Yeah, I mean, you can tell it's pretty clear that he was giving marching orders to emulate 28 days later the style. So they had plans to make a 28 months later, which never happened.
No, they've been teasing it for years.
Yeah, I'm sure with the marching orders, to emulate that style, that's what that was about, in my opinion, because they saw themselves with some kind of a franchise. Obviously, if they greenlit the second movie, they thought maybe we'll make a third movie, and that never happened, which is a bummer because it was a fun universe, right?
No, for sure.
To be in and to see what would have happened, because at the end of 28 weeks later, the containment fails and they get out of the UK.
They do. They end up in Paris, as a matter of fact. There's a final shot of the infected running up the stairs from the subway, and there's the Eiffel Tower behind them.
Yeah.
So
what would have happened?
There was hope. There was hope there that they would make a sequel, but
yeah, I was really hoping for it myself.
We're still waiting. We're still waiting, guys.
Still waiting. Well, we've been waiting for
it's only been 15
almost
years.
15 years. So, or 15 years exactly. Actually, it's not gonna happen. Anyway, good set of movies. The 28 series.
Yeah, for sure.
Really enjoyed them. They're fun. Forerunners in the rage zombie. Now almost every zombie film is fast rage zombies.
Yes.
Right?
Well, it's
except for The Walking Dead. The Walking Dead is old school Romero zombies.
Old school, yeah, for sure.
Most zombie films these days follow the foundation set by the 28 series.
Right.
So, you got anything else, Esteban?
That's it for me.
Thanks for watching The Nerd Card. If you like this content, please remember to like and subscribe and hit notifications so that you get notified of every new video that we have.
And do not forget, you can check us out on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, all that good stuff, and especially thenerdcard.com. And with that, we will say, what's on your nerd card?